Before we begin today's episode, we want to take a moment for Alex Paul, whose passing last week has been devastating to the skating world and all who knew her. Alex was an ice dancer and an Olympian, but losing who she was off the ice is a much greater tragedy. She brought joy and light to a world that doesn't have enough of those things. She was thriving in her post-skating life as a new lawyer, wife to Mitch, and mom to baby Charlie. We know that a lot of you are mourning, and we just want you to know that we are too. We loved Alex, and we're absolutely heartbroken.
We're sending all our support to Charlie and Mitch, and we hope that you'll donate to the GoFundMe that's been set up to support them if you're able to. We'll have a link to it in the description of this episode. It's already raised 6 times its original goal. That's a testament to the depths of Alex's impact on those around her. The skating community always stands together in difficult moments, and this is one of the hardest moments we can remember. We'll miss you, Alex. Thank you for the light you added to our lives.
Double toe, and then a fall off the end of it, which was absolutely unnecessary and uncalled for. I'm not very much in favor of the counting of points. Does it work for you? No.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Run Through, the figure skating podcast where we talk about all the things that make us kiss and make us cry. I am only just one of your hosts, Adam Rippon.
I am also only but one of your hosts, Ashley Wagner, and today, as always, we are joined by our one and only not Olympic champion, Sarah Hughes. Sarah, welcome back to the pod.
Welcome
Thank you,
back.
as usual. Thanks for having me, as always, as your free laborer of editing and producing.
It's our favorite price of labor, free.
Free. Can't beat free.
That's so true.
Sarah,
Yeah.
I've also heard that, is it called like a moniker, like a nickname?
Yeah. What?
I've heard that non-Olympic champion has kind of stuck. You've had some in the wild sightings and people asking if you really are not an Olympic champion.
That's true. People ask me that all the time. They're like, so are you that girl who didn't win the Olympics? This sounds like a joke, but it isn't. I was in the presence of a lot of figure skating adjacent people this week. And
Sarah was at Champs Camp.
Right.
Yeah, I was.
So if you hear the rasp in her voice, she has been in Las Vegas for the last... Who knows? It's a dark hole
long.
when you go to Vegas. Yeah,
That's
so you
true.
don't know.
36 hours.
You can be there for 1 hour and your body feels like 1 week.
You could be there for 1 hour and you come back and check the date on your calendar and it's the year 2040. Like you have
That's
no
true.
idea. It's
Yeah.
You've lost time.
You've lost
Yeah.
time.
I've lost a lot of time, but I've gained a lot of fans because multiple people asked me, are you not Olympic champion Sarah Hughes?
That's gotta feel good.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels
Congrats.
really good to continuously tell people, yep, never achieved anything.
As you sit with an
as
Emmy
she
behind
sits-
you. There's an Emmy behind you.
There is an Emmy behind her.
There is
because for
also
me,
a white refrigerator, though. So
Okay,
it is...
Which, by the
Yin
way,
and yang.
yeah, my friend in Atlanta, Steven, who you both know,
Yes.
his housewarming gift to me was a magnet that has Nene Leakes' face on it that says, oh no, not a white refrigerator.
It's...
So...
You've beat everyone to the punch, which is really important.
Wait.
And here I was thinking you were going to tell me that he gave you a white refrigerator.
Okay, but
so.
speaking of accomplishments, there's an extra degree on this call.
There
Ashley,
is.
Oh,
college-educated woman.
I'm a learned woman, and I am about to fuck up the minds of the people left and right. Just kidding. I'm actually not qualified in any way, shape, or form to practice therapy, but I'm
Yet.
applying to graduate school. I'm just going to keep
I
on
thought
going
that's
right
what we
on
were
through into
doing on this
education.
podcast.
Yeah, it's a
Well-
therapy session.
It is. This is absolutely therapy. I will bill you later for these hours.
Thank you.
That being said,
I've been trying to send my
It's
bill
really
over
cool.
to you guys, and it's just not working.
We're not getting it, but you will get
No.
Ashley's. You'll end up owing money before you get paid to do this.
but wait, I guess we have another accomplishment
do.
that has to be acknowledged.
We do.
We have the brightest star in the universe, Adam.
Yeah, I am the brightest star in the entire universe legally. I did win Stars on Mars.
How's
As
it feel?
legally announced by a patch inside a plastic case.
Absolutely. And that's actually, it feels amazing. It feels less important than being a future mother and getting a degree from a school and learning and using your mind. I'm very proud.
I'd
but
say it is.
It is. You know what? They call a spade a
Let's say it
spade.
with some conviction, okay?
But yeah, I'm really happy. It was really fun. I met a lot of really great people. But Ashley, it's a skating podcast, so I do want to turn it back to you and just say that from me to you, I am so proud of you, of all the things that you're doing post skating career. You're about to be a mother. You went back to school. That is so hard to do, and you're doing it. You're really doing it. You're killing it. So me and Sarah are both really, really proud of you.
My
We are.
my hormones right now are too high. I think is the scientific term
Hi.
for this sweet talk.
Ashley is high.
Yes.
She's too
No,
high,
I'm not.
actually.
I'm on cloud 9, guys. Shoot, I had actually the perfect segue because we said something. Oh, because you had to own up to your accomplishment and say it with conviction. I was going to say, speaking of people who say things with conviction, we have a really exciting guest planned today.
A convicted
joining us.
criminal. No, I'm kidding.
So, the true, real OG skating fans will know exactly who this person is, and we're excited to have him. He is a man with many thoughts,
Many words.
many words.
Many
He
words
strings
and
them
thoughts
together professionally, actually, and then publishes them in places like the Chicago Tribune.
Is this ringing any bells to any of the listeners? Because to the skaters, this might send you shivering that you have an interview set up with this very famous, very illustrious writer, journalist, father. He's a father, right?
Yes, he is. He is
Yes.
because I shared a car ride with him once, and I thought that it was gonna curry some favor, because we'd chatted for a while because we got stuck in traffic, and I believe he has a son who is in the music industry in some way, shape, or form.
And went to school with Raphael's son.
There we go.
Yes, that is
Yes.
true. Obviously,
Yeah.
Ashley, who are we talking about?
Okay, everyone, if you haven't guessed already, it is the beloved Phil Hersh joining us today, and we will be breaking down his hot takes because the man has plenty to spare. And he reached out to me recently after I brought up the hot topic of music that should be banned. And so we know he's coming in ready to tell the world what he thinks. And
we want to
we're
hear it.
really excited.
We want to hear what he thinks and what he doesn't think. We want to hear that all of it.
All right, so let us
Phil,
welcome.
how are you?
Phil, welcome.
Thank you. I'm great, Adam. Thank you for asking. I see you're not wearing our twin glasses.
I'm not. I decided that I want you to shine. I know that this is kind of audio only, but in the visual perspective, I want all eyes of these Zoom boxes. I want them all on you right now because this is
Thank you,
we
Adam.
finally get to turn the tables on you. We're interviewing you.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go. I'm ready for it.
we're so excited to have you. And I was saying earlier, Phil, that you reached out to me after I posted on Instagram about pieces of skating music that need to be officially retired/banned. And a couple minutes later, I get a text from you just mentioning that you have some thoughts. So I think we should really just get this kicked off right away.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know, what pieces of music in figure skating do you feel like need to go?
Well, I think some should go because they are so signature a piece with a particular person, like Bolero and Twirl and Dean. Once they did it, nobody's going to do it better. Just take that off the table. Obviously, a million Boleros since then. I mean, Carmen also is ridiculous. How many times it's overused? We had 3 Carmens in the 1988 Olympics in the women's free skate. So there's one. There are a lot of popular songs that are overused now. Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto, beautiful piece of music, too many times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of some of the there are even a couple of that.
Do you think that Bolero aided by heart medication is better or worse?
Actually, I thought I'm not sure when she started taking the heart medication because it was getting better over the season. So
could have been the heart medication.
Could have been the heart medication, yeah, because that's a very hard tempo to keep up with. So could have helped that endurance.
Yeah, it feels more heart medication than it does the spirit of skating. So I am thinking it's more of a medical intervention.
Okay. I mean,
pharmaceuticals.
That certainly could be. I mean, you all know what a Red Bull can do when you're trying to get moving. Right? So,
and that's what I do when I'm feeling sick. I just have a Red Bull, so I do know what it can do.
The Annie Lennox song, the Eurythmics song, "Sweet Dreams Are Made of This." I love the song. I know you've skipped to it. Enough.
Are you worried going into an 80s rhythm dance season that we're going to hear approximately 6,000 Sweet Dreams iterations? I am.
Yeah, but that's the trouble. I mean, I listen to classical music almost all day long, and I must admit my knowledge of contemporary pop music is terrible. I sort of ended with the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and I'm getting a little bit into Taylor Swift, who's a bleeping genius. Although I wish you could hear. I wish in a lot of her recordings you can hear you can hear the lyrics because she's an incredible songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're kind of overproduced, but anyway,
I think you need to talk to Jack Antonoff about that. We can't help with the overproduction, but we wish we could.
We'll put in a good word, though.
Yes.
Anyway, I just think that I would either ban the music completely, or else say if you want to use this, skate to this, you're going to start with a grade 2 points lower on the artistic
so
side.
we're hitting them where it hurts.
Where you exactly. I mean,
in the scores.
I was saying I listen to so much classical music, and I'm always when I'm in the car or listening on Sirius or something, I'm always thinking, how could I cut that to make that a skating program? How could I cut that?
Mm-hmm.
And there are approximately 62 billion pieces of music that you could use just from the classical repertory, and that doesn't even count popular songs. And I love a lot of popular songs and older songs too. So, but they're quite. But one of the things that has always struck me about skaters and music, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is that not a lot of skaters really know much about music or about music theory.
Yeah.
And they're basically 2 basic parts of music. It makes us oversimplify this dramatically. You've got tempo, which is speed, and you've got dynamics, which is the level of sound. And I just don't. I've always joked that I think a lot of skaters, you could play trash cans being banged, and they would skate to that and not care, that they would just do the elements. And you, Adam, actually told me at one point when we were talking about the new scoring system that every program looks the same. Jump, jump, spin, spin, jump, jump, spin, jump, or something like that.
Yes,
to that.
totally.
But what's always struck me about skaters, even the ones, more power to the ones like both of you who are able to carry something off artistically. I don't know what your musical training is, but you've somehow been able to understand body movement and tempo, dynamics enough to hit the right note at the right time. When you choreograph, can you choreograph almost anything? Yeah,
I mean, it depends. Honestly, when I'm choreographing something, it just depends on like what the skater can do and what are they good at and how do you make it fit to the music. A lot of times though, I will tell you that some of the best skaters I've worked with have no concept of, they wouldn't even know if I turned the music off. They really wouldn't, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Like they don't
That's
feel
what
it.
I said about banging trash cans, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and I spoke to a very well-known skater, and that skater told me that the program was an orchestral version of something when it was actually just two instruments.
Oh no.
So yeah, I mean, it's always. I often thought that if I were going to make skating more appealing artistically, I would have with the ability with iPhone, with AirPods or earbuds, or whatever they're called, and phones and stuff. I would have skaters skate, just do laps with a metronome, beating a beat in their ear, so that you could change the tempo, and they would then be able to understand. Well, now I have to move faster. Now I have to move slower. I'll have somebody telling them now it's 120 beats per minute for a quarter note. Now it's 140 beats for a quarter note. Now it's 80 beats for a quarter note. And those skaters who are able to pull this off, and particularly as the technical part of it has got impossible.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable. I think of the one program. There are lots of programs I love, but Una Kim at the 2010 Olympics always struck me as one of the Gershwin Concerto in F, I think it is. She didn't pick Rhapsody in Blue. The Concerto F is not used quite as much, and she did all that program with and skated to it. She was like a feather in the wind. I mean, it was just incredible. And when the program called for her to be a feather in the wind, and with all the pressure to be able to do that, it's amazing to me. It's amazing.
Yeah.
No, it is.
But I'd like to see a lot more different music. One of you skated the red violin. You, right, Ashley?
Yes.
And when Michelle Kwan tried that, I love that. I love that she, it's not atonal, but there is a lot of dissonance in it. And I love that she took a gamble on it. And the program of hers that I still liked better than the ones that got all the publicity in 1998 was Salome, because that music has been used in skating, but not that often.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we all loved Nathan's winning Olympic program, and it's a nice Elton John medley. But I think he can, I think Nathan, as we see him now, could do even more.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I
yes.
think he's had more time on the show circuit, and that's really where you start to see, well, because you get that automatic feedback from an audience, right? And so even if you aren't, musically educated, there is some kind of innate human understanding to music somewhat. And so when you see skaters go off and perform on the shows and tour, you're getting that direct feedback from an audience that really helps you understand what parts of the music people respond to, and it trains you how to push through music, when to give more, when to take more. So I totally agree. I think a lot of skaters in their retirement or when they take a step back from the competitive scene get better because they perform in a different way.
And Brian Boitano, to me, is the paramount example of that.
Yeah.
Brian was just beginning, and a lot of people don't know that he was going to skate to a total cliche of a Western cowboy piece, Hoedown or something like that, at the Calgary Olympics. And then Sandra got involved and gave him the Maya Bira Le Patineur, which is a little bit of a cliche since the title's about skaters, but he carried it off so beautifully with that arrogant flip of the snow from his blade. And also the Napoleon score, which was not the more common Napoleon score. But then he took that. Brian was just beginning to get there. And then he took that over the next 20 years on the show circuit to become just an incredibly compelling artist. And, Nathan told me back when I did a story on his substantial ballet training, that he was able to be much more of an artist when he was younger because he didn't have to do 7 quadruple jumps or 5 quadruple jumps or 4 or 3 or whatever. And you know that. A, the energy those jumps take out of you. B, the time required to set up for them and to come out of them. So, I think this goes to another side of this discussion, but the balance between performance and technique has so heavily skewed toward toward technical ability,
Mhm.
technical wizardry in the case of the Chens and the Hanyus and others like that, that it makes it very, even the best music doesn't, the skaters don't have enough time to interpret it.
I mean, you have to take away so much time and energy to set up a jump. And that's just the front end. The tail end, you're also going into a risky element. So then you have people who are also falling, and that takes you out of the artistic side. It's just to get that many elements in and still have any kind of artistic component to it. It's very rare, if not borderline impossible, to kind of give equally.
No, I agree, and this debate has gone on probably for well before the new scoring system of because Brian Orsa were doing triple jumps more than one, or triple axles more than one triple axle in a program back then, and I'm sure people thought that's too much jumping, and I know people did think that after compulsory figures went away. So, but what I say about taking chances. Dennis Ten at the 2013 World Championships, skating the short and the long program to the film score from the artist.
Yeah, genius. So good.
Told a 7-minute story in 2 pieces. And he should have, if it weren't for Chanflation and a ridiculous hometown judging, he would have gotten what he deserved, which was to be world champion, which, I mean, it seems, given what horrible thing that happened to him after that, it would be nice if that was also on his record. But that was just an utterly compelling performance, and it would be fun. You obviously can't do 2 of them back to back, but it would have been fun to see them. Dennis do the short program, and then 15 minutes later he come out and do the free skate, as if you were doing them in practice. Just because seeing it worked still, even with a 2-day separation or a 1-day separation. I forget, but it would have
been cool to see that in a show.
Exactly. It was just an absolute stroke of genius.
So what I'm hearing is you're saying that Luna Hendricks skating to 2 Madonna programs is going to probably be on the same artistic
maybe the artist of our choice, of our lifetime. Could be. I don't know. We're just throwing it out there.
Who is the artist of our lifetime?
Luna Hendricks.
Oh, I thought you maybe were saying Madonna, because you could obviously, my lifetime, not yours so much, but of your lifetime, the artists of your lifetime would be Rihanna and Beyonce and Taylor Swift.
That's true. The trifecta.
Yeah,
you're right.
That is true. And Phil, you brought up that Una Kim program from the 2010 Olympics. It's a masterpiece. Program. I remember seeing her do it in practice and just always needing to stop what I was doing and just watch. It was
because you
phenomenal.
were training with her at that time, right?
Yes. And so we've established that there are some skaters that are like a feather in the wind, and that there are some skaters that are like a brick on the street. But what I want to know is that when a really good skater who does understand music, who really can feel it, who's an excellent performer, and they go back to one of these war horses, do you ever change your opinion? Like, let's say you brought up Bolero. What about Carolina Kostner in 2014? What do you think of that?
That was my first thought.
Yeah, she's a great skater and a beautiful skater. And what I remember about Carolina Kostner is the Shostakovich program and the Dvorak Dumke quartet program.
Yes,
not
me too.
The Bolero program. Yeah. So, I mean, because you think that bum 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 bum, that the pounding syncopation of the Shostakovich, and I happen to love Shostakovich's music, and also the Dumke quartet, which has been used in skating before, but not very often. I think Carolina, I loved her once she got out of the silly costume. I loved her her Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun, which of course is a legendary piece of music, but people dance the same ballets over and over again. I get it. But one of the problems with skating is that you see skater, generally a skater will do now 1 Challenger Series, 2 Grand Prix, if you're lucky, the Grand Prix final, the National Championships, and for the very elite of the elite, the World Championships. So you're hearing that same music over and over and over again. And if you've heard that music over and over and over again in skating prior to a great skater doing it, it makes it just a little bit, I hear the first few notes and I go, oh no. I mean, if those skaters, when I go to a competition, if I really haven't seen them skate that program, and if I hear the first few notes of Carmen or Bolero, I really do go, oh no. So particularly the skaters who can do so much better.
Totally. Is there a piece of music? Is there a piece of music that you're very well versed in so much classical music? Is there a piece of music that you think, why hasn't anybody used this? It's amazing. Like what's that?
Give us program ideas so that when Adam and I both come out of retirement,
because we are going
to skate to.
Yeah, Ash,
if I were going to skate to two programs, I
hypothetically,
would.
yeah. Okay, you're getting ready for your challenger.
Hypothetically, I could skate 2 seconds without falling down. That's the reality. If I were going to skate two programs, I would skate to one which no one less than John Curry skated to, I believe mainly as an exhibition, Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man, which is as a short program, which also happens to be almost exactly 2 minutes and 50 seconds, which means you are getting an integral piece of music. The same thing is true with the Swan, but Saint-Saëns the Swan from Carnival of the Animals. Again, that's been used a lot, but it's a beautiful piece of music and almost exactly between 240 and 250. I like some of the cutting is so terrible that it creates just a hodgepodge of stuff. I mean, even I really liked help me, Papadakis and Cicerone's Moonlight Sonata.
Right.
But the way it was cut it's a little bit hard to take. If you knew Moonlight Sonata.
If you know the music, you can hear the cuts and it's jarring to you.
Right. For a long program, I would like to try the Vivaldi double cello concerto, the second the Allegro movement.
Okay.
Oh, Ashley, you know that one. Why don't you sing the first few notes?
I can't sing it that well. I listened to it again today. I mean, that's also happens to be just a share right at about 4 minutes. And I like that because you're getting an integral piece of a movement, not the whole piece. And I know there are people out there who are geniuses at cutting music and making the cuts sound very, very smooth. But if you can find a piece of music that works in its integrity, why not use it? There's also I've wanted Jason Brown to try to skate this. There's a Handel opera called Xerxes, and the Largo, the slow movement, is just tearfully breathtaking. And that would have to be cut. But someone like Jason or someone like you, I think actually your best skating, you were really great with your greatest programs. I think were show programs.
Don't worry, I knew you weren't talking about me when you were suggesting classical music.
Because some people are do well interpreting abstract ideas.
Yeah.
And some people do really well interpreting a story. And that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means some people are better.
No, know your strengths. I think not enough skaters perform to their strengths.
Right.
I mean, I could if I spent sometimes I mark things down. Sometimes when I hear something, I say, I wonder why nobody has tried to skate to that, or I wonder why nobody has tried to skate to that. There are a couple of Queen pieces, and obviously I have a lean toward Bohemian Rhapsody because my son did a great arrangement of that. But I mean that would have to be dramatically cut because it's about 7 minutes long. But I mean I think that could be a great piece of music to use too.
Did you ever see Rohin's? Adam, help me remember this.
Yes.
Rohin performed to. It was like an 8-minute performance, and it was the entire piece of music.
Oh,
do you remember?
Yes, it was amazing. Phil, I don't know if you've ever seen this program. We'll find it and we'll try to send it to you. Rohin is just like incredible, one of the best skaters.
He is incredible. What was the music?
What was it, Ashley?
This is out of my.
Phil, your worst nightmare is Ashley's knowledge.
But I am your worst nightmare.
Anyway, I'll look it up. I mean, Rohin's great. I mean, look what he's done with look what he and Jason, not what he has done with Jason. Look what he and Jason have done together. Because now that you've started choreographing, you understand that this can't be the choreographer. I mean, unless you're one of these great old Russian choreographers who whacks people with a stick. It can't be just the choreographer telling the ballet dancer or something, you must do this, you must do that, or else or else Putin will get involved.
We don't want that. It's never good. It's never good when he does. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, something else just popped in and out of my head, which is not unusual for me at my age. Things go in my head. Most of it doesn't pop back in. That's the problem.
Well, then let's find it. Let's hear what it is.
But going back to Rock 2, the Mao Asada skated that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was unbelievable.
Yes.
I mean, because Mao Asada, when she was right, was an unbelievable skater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just think she could have done. I remember back in the day, Rachel Flatt, Tom Dixon choreographed. Was when either 2006 or 2007 when I don't think I think you went to Worlds because Rachel was too young.
That would have been 2008 Worlds, so 2007, 2008 season.
I think that was it. Anyway, he choreographed a piece from a Brahms string quartet or a sextet. I don't remember which one it was, and it was just amazing. And if you look at the chamber music, the library of chamber music, of great chamber music, it's limitless. I mean, and again, the library of good pop music is limitless too. One thing that I wanted to ask you, because you guys have skated into the modern arena era. It always strikes me that the sound systems in these buildings are so good that they overpower me listening to the music. Do they overpower you on the ice?
No, the louder, the fucking better, because
I want to
you
be
can
drowned out.
And because when we're on the ice, like the music is, a lot of times the speakers are facing out to the audience or they're up above us, so we don't get that big giant jolt of like vibration that you're feeling in the audience. It is much louder when you're watching.
I also really like it because in training, obviously the sound systems are like 4 Bose speakers that have been like taped to the ceiling. It's usually pretty dicey. And when you get out onto competitive ice, it's like these big sound systems. You can feel that bass in your chest. And so it makes competition feel different. And that worked for me. I liked it because it didn't feel like training. It felt like it was a bigger deal.
Because I felt watching them from press seats that I was overwhelmed by the volume of the music, and it's not just because I'm old and I don't like my music that loud anymore, because I do still like my music that loud. But it's interesting to hear you both say that it's better that way, and I particularly understand, because in training you're lucky. 2 Bose speakers you'd be lucky if you had two or 4 Bose speakers. So many people were playing that out of their iPhones.
That's true.
Their iPhones, so
that's very true. No, Adam and I are usually in the stands and we're like, they really need to turn up the music. We can barely hear it.
Oh yeah, and that we were kind of dramatic too. So we'd be like, I can't hear anything, going over to the referee, like waving at our ears, like we really couldn't hear a thing.
Tanya Harding, our greatest inspiration.
Yes.
Now Tanya Harding. Now let's speaking of Tanya Harding. When she landed triple axel, it was to music from Tone Loc, and the lyrics were definitely not PG. So it's a good thing there were no lyrics back then. But I mean, nobody but Tanya Harding knew that. I had never heard of Tone Loc but again, I'm out of the loop until she skated to it. But I thought that was just terrific. She took a wild chance on something, and turned out to be the performance of her career.
Yeah,
and one of the greatest moments, as a fan watching American figure skating.
She's taken a lot of wild chances.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Right.
Some worked out better than others.
Yeah, some better than
exactly.
others.
One thing I like when you did your one ballet program, Black Swan, I liked it because it was Black Swan, not White Swan. And
I would like to say that was mindful, but at that moment in my career, someone was telling me to do that, and I said, okay.
But I also liked it because even though it's a little bit, what's the word I want? Cheap
overdone, overused.
No. But I mean, I love the fact that you can move your arms like a swan, and that you can move your feet. Those little staccato foot movements. You can mimic a swan, and yeah, it's obvious, but it's still unbelievably effective.
Thank you. It's because I couldn't land a clean triple toe. So
I think that may have been that was the 2013 World Championship. I mean, U.S. Championship.
2012.
I think that may have been my favorite program of yours. Plus the fact because it resonated, because you'd had a struggle a couple of seasons before that, and
all of them.
And you came back with this great performance. That was in San Jose. Correct?
Yes,
that
it was. Yeah, it was San Jose.
Phil, you are buttering me up, and you know what? It's working. We actually have some questions for you, Adam.
Yes. So now that we're obviously waiting with bated breath to talk to you about these things. So you mentioned like one of Ashley's favorite programs, and I want you to do me after. this question. The question is, what's Ashley's program that you liked the least? Now
I
you have
can't wait.
you have a chance to let her know.
Also, Phil,
I may have to go look at my list.
I have to cut down my list. We have the thickest skin, and you can't offend us. This is all like good fun.
You know, I don't. I love Moulin Rouge. I don't like people repeating programs. So
you know what? It didn't pay off for me, and I didn't like it in the end either, Phil.
That would be a love-hate thing for me. I loved the program the first time I saw it, and
the
it was
500 times afterwards you didn't.
It was like hip 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 chin chin. I mean, that program was perfectly suited for you, or you were perfectly suited for it, and not the second time.
No,
I mean,
or the third.
Agree.
Yuzuru Hanyu skated to at least two of his short program, one the Chopin 3 times, and a long program 3 times, and so those are automatically the second time around. If it was really great the first time, the second time around, no.
Yeah, I agree. As someone who does it, I think repeating programs is lazy, and I can say from experience, it's out of laziness.
No, it's also, I mean, I get that you can be injured too. And it becomes very difficult if you're injured in
that's true.
summer or early fall. It becomes very difficult to try to choreograph a whole new program, unless, as we've said before, that basically you're always doing the same elements to different music. So what the hell is the big, what do you care what you're skating to? It's just that the audience eventually does care, because the audience associates, if it's a great performance technically and a beautiful program musically, and it fits together, the audience does care, even though maybe the skater may not care as much as the audience does. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to make me, I wrote down a list of all your programs, Adam, and I'm turning you off the screen off here for 1 second so I can look it up again.
You don't want to look me in the eye when you say this.
No, I'll look you in the eye after I find the programs.
I think I know which program
which one
should be.
The one it should be is when I skated to the Incredibles soundtrack.
Yeah.
I should have been banned. Like Carmen.
Yeah, well, see, you did Who Wants to Live Forever, and that's overdone. You also did one of my favorite arias from opera, Nessun Dorma, which ends in I Will Win. That's been overdone.
Yeah, and I didn't.
I actually loved your Olympic programs.
Great. Okay. Good.
Both of them.
Wow.
And I like both of those programs. So let me see now I'm going back.
He has a list of all the programs.
The Barber Violin Concerto is one of the most amazing pieces of music ever. So I had to have liked that.
I'm surprised other people haven't used it, because it's beautiful, big, it's swelling music. I was surprised other people didn't use that.
Adam, what year was that?
It was like 2010.
For some, when I listen, and I admit this is a prejudice, for some people, if I hear a piece of music that I haven't heard or used a lot in figure skating, and it happens to be a piece I really love, you've already got me in 15 seconds. You've got me.
Oh, wow. Note to the skaters, if you want to curry favor.
Because I just, I then want to see what you can do with it. I mean, the trick also with all this stuff is those are tiny little blades, and it's very hard to stay upright on them all the time.
Let me tell you.
And so, I mean, no matter how beautiful a program you may have laid out and intended to skate, if you are doing the famous Human Zamboni program, it's not quite as effective. So, no, I did love I loved your Olympic year music, because I just thought that it was who you were, and it was all part of a bigger picture about saying to the world, this is who I am.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you. But I don't want you to keep showering us with comments. We really want to get to the nitty gritty here.
I don't remember that the whatever the hell they were, the indelibles. The
exactly the point. You don't remember, but we want to turn the page, because you've been a journalist for years. You're one of the most respected journalists in figure skating. We want to know if you can think of it off the top of your head, what's one of the best interviews that you've ever had, that you got off that call and you went, wow, that was amazing?
Well, every time I got off a call with Nathan and could actually understood what he said, because he speaks so fast, I consider that a victory. But he was always great. Nathan was always great on the phone, and I would always have to tell him, Nathan, please slow down. Even my recorder can't keep up with you. No, he's the best interview I've ever done, in figure skating. I had a lot of fun doing in 1998 before Nagano, which was 7 years after the Soviet Union had collapsed. I went to Russia and did a story, basically a couple of stories that wound up being stories about the Russians who had stayed and the Russians who had left. So Alexei Yagudin, who had left, and the pairs who had stayed with Tamara Mostvina, and in that awful old rink in St. Petersburg. And all of those interviews were good. The best one was this was a live interview, which is obviously much different. Alexei Hermanov took me to the house he lived in one of these the ugliest Soviet buildings you can imagine, where he shared an apartment with his mom on the outskirts of Moscow. And the elevator, the hallways, everything smelled of urine. And then there were drug dealers not far away. And you got to the apartment, and you could have eaten off of the floor the way that Alexei's mom had taken care of it. And just the welcome that Chris Brennan did this interview together, and the welcome that she gave us, laying out all this food, and it just, I was touched by it.
Mm-hmm.
Also I'm not a big fan of Yevgeny Pleshchenko over the last 10 years, but I spent a long time when he was on tour in Chicago. We met, and it was, I think, the Ritz-Carlton, which makes the story even better, because he came from absolutely nothing and lived in one of these, had an apartment situation where there was not enough housing in the Soviet Union, so completely different families shared apartments. They have a bedroom, and you would have your family have a bedroom, Adam, and your family would have a bedroom, Ashley, and my family would have a bedroom, and then we would share a common kitchen. Mm-hmm. And just what he had come, the whole idea of what he had come from was just amazing. I had a lot of really good times with Michelle Kwan, who was great to talk with, and to me, one thing I've loved so much about Michelle is that, as great a skater as she was, what she's accomplished since then impresses me far.
Mm-hmm.
So, I remember she took me to a Lakers game, and I got to see the whole star treatment
that'll make a good interview.
I'd never been to a Lakers game at Staples Center, and on the way to the bathroom, Renee Zellweger stopped her and said, "I really like your skating." Renee recognized Michelle.
That's so cool.
Michelle recognized Renee. So, I mean, I guess I've had a lot of good phone interviews, and as the business became, as you couldn't travel as much, I've had to do more phone interviews, but the live interviews are 1,000% better. Actually, you and I had when in New Jersey, after you had come back, it was you were doing the Rockefeller Center tree lighting thing, and I remember standing in the locker room, such as it was, and just absolutely frozen at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We talked in the limousine on the way over and the limousine on the way back.
Yeah, we got stuck in traffic together.
Yeah, exactly. You can just get something more from that. So, I like people who are unafraid to say what they mean, and both of you guys, what they feel, and both of you guys have been like that your whole career. And I don't, and Adam and you and I had some nice sparring matches, and that was great, because it showed, because I don't have a monopoly on what's right and what's wrong, and I love to be challenged, and because I'm not afraid to take the challenge, and conversations, as long as they don't become. They can become animated with no animosity.
Totally.
And I always felt, that could be the case. So, I've had a chance to do lots and lots of great interviews. So I went in 2001 when the International Olympic Committee picked its new president and also selected Beijing to be the 2008 Summer Games host. I had dinner with Irina Slitskaya in a sushi restaurant, of all things, in Moscow. And that was an incredible experience. She was very open. Her English was pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good interview with Yuna at the cricket club, where she spoke mostly English, but it always struck me that from that point on, she started speaking less and less English, because I remember by the time of the 2013 World Championships, she was doing everything in Korean, and she was very open about the pressure she was facing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I like people who are, you don't have to, often used this example. You don't have to tell me your innermost fear. I mean, let me go back. Nathan Chen's book, the best thing about Nathan Chen's book is for the first time I finally knew something about Nathan Chen and what he'd gone through. Nathan
Totally,
kept
yes.
his life to himself. And he said that's the way his family was, that's the way he was. And I didn't know any of the stuff that he had gone through. I mean, I knew that obviously the stuff you could see in public, but my interactions with Nathan were limited to competitions and the occasional phone call. And you can't get to know somebody that way. But if you do have a chance to spend some time with somebody, you get to know them a little bit better. And the example I've always used is after she won the gold medal in Albertville, Christy Yamaguchi, who was still a very, very shy 19-year-old young woman, people who would not reveal anything about herself at that point, so she came over to talk to the U.S. press the next day, and we asked them, the usual question, like, what did you do to celebrate? And she gave the perfect answer without revealing anything. She said, got back to the village so late, the dining room had closed, and I had to eat food off my teammates' plates. The new Olympic champion wins the gold medal, and she's eating her friends' leftovers, basically. And she told something else about the program had a picture of the Olympic gold medal, what it looked like. And she said, every time I leaf through that program, I'll flip the page so fast because I didn't want to see it and jinx myself. But there was always that, in terms of interviewing, there's always people who are clever at being on the other side of an interview can give a journalist plenty to write about without revealing what they don't want to reveal. So anyway, but I mean, I've had because I've been around the sport so long and people know who I am. I've had very, great cooperation from most people. And once a skater retires, I like to think I try never to become anyone's friend during the time I was covering them, because what happens if they test positive for drugs and you're somebody's friend and you don't want to write that story.
Right, a very common occurrence now from a
Nowadays,
certain part of the world.
Surprisingly common.
I mean, that was more in other sports than it was in figure skating, obviously.
Well, figure skating felt left out, so we're trying our best to catch up.
But I've tried to now establish it. If it's not a full friendship, at least it's a full acquaintanceship with people who I've covered over the years.
Yeah.
And I have one last question, Phil. I mean, as a journalist, you need to make a lot of predictions, or you need to, you have to input your own sort of idea of what you think is going on. Have you ever made a wild prediction? One that's happened and one that was so wild that never happened?
I wish I needed to be prompted for this one.
I got you. Finally, now I've sparred back. There you go.
No, I can certainly not get things right, and I mean, in figure skating, it used to be a lot easier to get things right before compulsory figures went away and before the new scoring system went in. You could pretty much predicting wasn't very hard. But now it's become a lot harder. I can't remember which wild one I just the other day I thought that the U.S. runner Gabby Thomas was going to win the world championship in the 200 meters, and she did finish second. So and she was clearly not the favorite. But I can't think of one that I've made that was so wild, because figure skating, it's rare when somebody would come out of nowhere. You rarely, I mean, you don't see that. You see some things happen, but you don't generally see that gigantic upset. I'm trying to think of Rudy Galindo, who was probably the biggest upset I've ever seen in all the years covering figure skating.
Yes.
That was also one of the greatest moments I've ever had the privilege of watching, and trying not to cheer, because I never cheered in a press box, but feeling so good for him internally, knowing what he did. But if you had picked Rudy Galindo to win the 1996 U.S. Championships, boy, I wish you were picking stocks for me.
Oh my God. Well, Phil, first of all, we just want to say thank you so much for being a longtime friend of me to figure skating. We have always loved your hot takes, and I really agree with you. I think that you can really have those conversations and bring out those fun hot takes and opinions, and not necessarily have to have any animosity towards each other. So I think you've always managed that balance, and we, the skating community, appreciate you for it.
I'm sure there are some skaters that won't agree with you about that, but
if you asked me a couple years ago, Phil, I wouldn't be saying this. But being on the other side of figure skating, I see now that it really does. There's just a whole other side to skating, that when you're an athlete and it's your life and it's everything, it's, a tough pill to swallow. But those opinions and that honesty, it's important to kind of give that perspective.
I mean, when you talk about honesty at the 2017 World Championships, you were stunningly honest.
Well, when you're that bad, you kind of got to say you were bad. Well, we want to thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. Your opinion in the sport is so appreciated, and it's been a joy being able to work with you on the other side of my career, and I'm sure for Adam as well. It's really cool to hear your perspective and honestly hear stories like the ones that you shared with us today, because you were there for that, those big moments, and that's just something that we're all really lucky to be able to experience through you.
And what's impressed me is that you've both transitioned out of it and still in it, in your case to some degree, Adam,
Mm-hmm.
and you less, Ashley, although you are teaching people the joy of skating in a different way. So I just think that it's great that you've transitioned out of it and found other ways to express yourselves. And I want to congratulate you on the impending motherhood.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. They will not be a figure skater.
Yeah.
But I will put them in music class.
I did have one more thing I wanted to say. I asked a very, very eminent instrumental musician who's a friend. I said, I was talking about figure skaters never seem to get tempo, and what is this? And he said, I've conducted I played in orchestras for a lot of ballets. You play a tempo for ballet dancers, they dance whatever tempo they want. So it's not just figure skating.
Good to know.
That's actually good to know. It makes us all feel better.
Yeah, I feel like less of a monster.
Mm-hmm. Well, Phil, thank
All
you
right.
so
Thank you
much
for having me.
We'll have
Thank
to have you back.
me.
We'll have to have you back.
I'd love to come back. Maybe sometime when the season gets underway.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody who's very involved in the sport asked me yesterday, "Are you excited about this season?" And I kind of didn't know what to say. Because much as I believe that the Russians don't belong in there, without them, it's a very different sport.
It's true. It's true.
And certainly those who are breaking the rules definitively don't belong there. I'm the over under on the Valieva decision is, I think, may beat the 2026 Olympics by a month or two, but I'm not sure. So yeah, it's just crazy.
It is crazy.
Same.
Well, Phil, thank
All
you.
right.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Phil.
And
We'll
will
chat
talk
soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was an amazing interview with Phil. And one thing I did learn is that he does want to cut costs if he was ever a competitive figure skater by never getting his music cut. That was a big takeaway I learned.
No edits.
I learned that US Figure Skating needs to hire him and bring him into Champs Camp for his metronome exercise. I feel like we'd all benefit from that.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I had no idea he knew that much about classical music. That was kind of amazing to listen to.
Can you imagine me in a car with him and he's talking to me about classical music? And this was also like many, many, many moons ago, before Adam choreographed a classical program for me. And I was in panic the entire time. I'm like, I'm going to blow it. He's going to know
I'm going to blow
I don't
it.
know anything about classical music.
And
I don't think he
still
knew
don't.
until today. And I still don't.
Now he knows.
There was a lot. You guys can't see, but there was a lot of smiling and nodding from me throughout this entire podcast.
I think after they heard you think that Sonia Henney had 8 Olympic titles, I think they could feel the nodding.
There was a lot of laughing
nods
from me while I was on mute. I laughed my way through that conversation.
Well, as we work into September, we have the Challenger Series starting up, which is really exciting. We're going to get to see our first little preview of this season, see some programs out there fresh and brand spanking new.
Which we love. So we're going to have a lot to talk about in the next few episodes. Skating season, it's here. It's time to get ready. It's just a drum roll to the Grand Prix. We're ready.
We're ready.
I'm ready. So, because we're ready, we're gonna go.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time
On the run.
on the run through.
No, let's leave it there. That was good.
That's cute.